Stands and when we expect to see landfall.
Hey, Chris, I think landfall is going to be around 10 o'clock local time Jamaica, local time in Miami, 10 o'clock on Tuesday morning. By the way, you look at those images, a couple of things to note about the live shot that you had there. That's in Kingston. I mean, Kingston is like over here, right? Pretty far away from where the worst of this hurricane is expected to impact. And kind of the good news about that is that the population centers are generally in this area, not so much on the west end. And yes, I know there's Montego Bay and there's several parishes out there, St. Elizabeth Parish and whatnot, that do obviously have population centers, but they're just not as concentrated with people as Kingston is off to the east. So when you look at those images, it doesn't look too harrowing just yet, but hurricane force winds extend out only 25 miles from the center. So that's what this wind forecast graphic is to show you. This is, starting at 7:30, and we're going to set it in motion here just to show you what can be expected. The hurricane force winds are in red, and they would encompass by midday today, pretty much the entire west half of Jamaica, with the orange showing the damaging winds of 58 or greater miles per hour, and the yellow is tropical storm force winds. So what do we note about the population centers here near and around Kingston is that they seem to escape the most damaging winds that are associated to this hurricane. And then onwards we go into the afternoon and evening, and keep in mind Cuba is next. There is a hurricane warning in Cuba where a major hurricane, might not be a Cat 5, but it would still be a major hurricane, would impact you overnight into Tuesday night, late Wednesday morning, early, departing Cuba at this time, or at that time. Now, Melissa is not just the strongest hurricane ever measured so late in hurricane season. As you look at all the hurricanes for October and November, it is ranked third. Wilma is the record setter, 882 millibars of barometric pressure at the center of the hurricane. Milton, last year's 897, now Melissa at 901 millibars. By the way, records date back to 1851. All of the strongest hurricanes measured in October and November all come in this century. Just in the last, 20 years or so is that we've seen the strongest ones. You think there's something going on? You think? Yeah, obviously there are some changes, and a lot has to do with this. These are the sea surface temperatures, which are running a good 3 degrees hotter than normal in the waters in which Hurricane Melissa just traversed. Now, that condition, these 3 degrees hotter than normal, that is made 600 to 700 times more likely by human-caused climate change, which is causing a greater proportion of tropical cyclones around the world to reach Category 4 and 5 intensities. Category 4 and 5, of course, are the most catastrophic hurricanes. All right, so conditions in Jamaica are worsening, even if the hurricane force winds only extend out 25 miles. We're starting to see some impacts down there. Let's check those out with Adam Berg.
And like you mentioned earlier, John, right, Kingston sits pretty far away on the eastern side of the island, so they're not going to quite see some of the wind gusts that we're going to see on the western side of the island, where the expected landfall is coming up here in the next few hours or so. But needless to say, we are still gusting well in excess of tropical storm force, even still. So again, Kingston sits right in through here, gusting to 46, 54 Montego Bay. The next few hours, these numbers will continue to rise. And like John was mentioning earlier, we could see some wind gusts in some of the hillier areas of Jamaica that could possibly top 200 miles per hour here. I know that sounds insane. That's exactly the thinking with some of this. So along with very strong destructive winds, there's a rain and a storm surge impact as well to all of this. We've already seen a lot of rain. So this is the additional rain that we're expecting right now, the different colors you see. And when you see some of the pink here and some of the pink here, this is over a foot of additional rain, easily on top of the rain we've already seen. And then there are always isolated overachievers. Before all is said and done, 30 to 40 inches of rainfall possible through portions of Jamaica, eastern Cuba 20 to 25 plus. Same deal here for parts of Haiti, over 20 inches of rain. Bahamas impacted as well, 5 to 10 inches. So rain will be a huge impact. And then this is how the storm surge works. It is the wind from the system pushing the ocean onshore. So you can see why, visually, why it's near and east of the center where the worst storm surge is. So here's the center. East of it, here's the wind direction, right? This way. It pushes all that ocean on shore. How much? 9 to 13 feet. Kind of like an Ian situation here where a first floor would be completely taken out anywhere near the coast when you've got 9 to 13 feet of ocean pushing on shore. And then as we look to Cuba, it all depends on the exact location. So if this is landfall, west of this would not see the same sort of storm surge, but near and east in this orange area, 7 to 11 feet. And you see why. Once we get into the evening hours tonight, all that ocean water coming on shore here. So rain, wind, and storm surge all coming together. How about us? We sit 600 miles away from this system. What's steering it? Well, it's getting caught up in the jet stream here, and that's what's protecting us. Very strong winds moving west to east. These steering winds push that system away from us, protects us. When we have strong jet stream winds, we got a cold front coming. So not yet. 87 yesterday in Miami. The record was 90. We're going to be upper 80s again today. We sit south of this front. It's warm. It's humid. Maybe an isolated shower or storm. But here's what happens. This first front, we've got a couple of fronts. First front limps through later today and tonight. And then as we go through Wednesday, we'll notice a little less humidity. Wednesday into Thursday, that secondary front comes through. That's the one that really does the trick here. We're talking highs struggling to hit 80 with lows in the low 60s. So, Chris, an amazing Halloween setting up for us.
It really is. Adam, I want to keep you here real quickly while we look at this camera in Jamaica and Kingston right now. You mentioned the storm surge. Kingston is far away from the center of the eye, but east of the eye, could it see increased storm surge because of its location being east of the eye of the storm?
And that, in a nutshell, Chris, is what makes it so hard to sometimes communicate effectively why you can't just be solely focused on that center.
Yeah.
The center is where the strongest winds are. To the west of that center, storm surge, minimal, right? But to the east of that eye, like I was showing you on that graphic a little earlier, that's where you're going to get the push of ocean water on shore. So yes, most destructive winds near the center, but you can have storm surge that extends well out. And it really also depends on kind of the shape of the coastline. When you get these little bays that are east of that center, the water can really collect in those bays. So it's so many things.
Funnels
east
into those
of the
bays.
center, shape of the coastline, all that sort
Just
of
wanted
thing.
to talk about that because you see Kingston so far away, but still that storm surge could cause a big problem there for those living in that heavily populated area. Preparations continue here in South Florida to help out by gathering donations. They're being collected to ship over to Jamaica, to maybe Cuba, the Bahamas, the islands that will be affected by this storm. NBC6's Brandon Esperal is in Miramar at one of those donation drop-off sites with how you can help.
We're inside Miramar Police Headquarters, one of several locations accepting donations to be sent over to our friends over in Jamaica. Take a look at some of the boxes here in the lobby already. They are already getting filled up. This one, we have bedding, we have some canned foods, non-perishable items, some of these boxes. And here behind me, we have cots, beds ready to be shipped over, as well as bedding there on the side. Anything helps to be sent over to the island nation. Meanwhile, people on the island say they're taking shelter and preparing for the worst. In Jamaica, boats are being dragged to higher ground, windows are boarded up, and residents are bracing for heavy rainfall. As we've heard, the Category 5 hurricane is expected to cause flooding, landslides, and widespread devastation. We spoke to a man who lives in Montego Bay on the north side of the island nation. He says he's spent the past few days bracing for Melissa's impact, stocking up on groceries, putting sandbags in place, and filling up his car with gas. He says Montego Bay, which is normally bustling with tourism, now feels like a ghost town.
Everywhere is pretty much shut down. It's almost like everybody is just sitting in place. People are scared. It's scary. It's a real factor. This is devastation that we've never seen before.
Meanwhile, relief efforts are underway in South Florida. Take a look at your screen for a look at some of the different drop-off locations. Items needed include new blankets and sheets, baby diapers and wipes, canned food, non-perishables, flashlights, batteries, and first aid kits. And in some of these spots, you can also drop off donations around the clock, 24 hours, so you can come at your convenience to help out, again, our neighbors and friends in Jamaica. For a list of those locations, you can also head to our website, NBC6.com, or check it out on the NBC6 News app. In Miramar, I'm Brianna Nussbaugh, NBC6 News.
Brianna, thank you. Another look in Jamaica. This is Kingston Bay, where you could see the water, the chop beginning to surge. This is where Adam said, and John was talking about, east of the eye, where they could see this heavy storm surge, up to 14 feet of water in the heavily populated area. So yes, Kingston may avoid the highest of the winds because it's so far away, but because it's east of that storm, it could get that severe storm surge. We're keeping a close eye on Hurricane Melissa as it inches its way closer to landfall. We know a lot of our viewers have family and friends in the Caribbean. Scan the QR code. You'll get the NBC6 app with the latest on this storm and how you can help out.